Get ready to see the most stunning celebrity mansions. From luxurious homes to jaw-dropping palaces, you won't believe these incredible estates. Don't miss this tour of the most impressive celebrity houses. Prepare to be amazed. Let's watch it. It's fascinating. Jay-Z and Beyoncé.
Young B and the ROC. OG, big homie.
The amount of money Beyoncé and her husband Jay-Z have exceeds the GDP of some countries. So you can imagine the type of Titanic house they have as their main home. Well, it's a monstrous mansion in Bel Air, which set the record for the highest real estate sale in California last year. The couple bought this property in 2017 for approximately $88 million, making it one of the most expensive real estate purchases in Los Angeles history at that time. And it was a fantastic investment because today the property is worth around $295 million. The mansion spans 27,870 square meters and is located on nearly 2 acres of land. Designed by architect Paul McLean, it is known for its straight and clean lines, offering an almost completely rectangular space. The main house has 8 bedrooms and 11 bathrooms, and the interior spaces are designed to always have natural light and panoramic views, with large glass windows connecting to the outdoors. Speaking of the exterior, it features 4 swimming pools, each with its own design and purpose. Among the rooms, you can find amenities such as a full spa, a gym, a movie theater, a game room, a basketball court, and an entire playground for kids. Additionally, there's also a garage that can accommodate 15 cars. I know Beyoncé is called Queen Bee, but seriously, even the most powerful medieval queens didn't have palaces this enormous. Adam Levine. One would think that a music star of Adam Levine's caliber would live in a gigantic mansion, the kind with multiple floors where you could easily get lost if you take the wrong turn. But, strangely, his main home is much more similar to yours or mine. In fact, he opted for a single-story house. Of course, the house is huge, certainly bigger than yours or mine, but it still follows the plans of a standard residential building and doesn't exceed the dimensions of a large house. Although it is still a mansion, it has several extra spaces, such as a home theater, a small arcade section, a personal bar, huge closets, a pool, and even an outdoor living area. And of course, a small recording studio where many of Maroon 5's songs have actually been recorded. And all this in a single-story building. It's good to know that some celebrities have a bit of modesty when it comes to their residences. I mean, this house has no shortage of luxury, but it's nothing remotely as extravagant as what we've seen before. The White House. I know, technically it's not a mansion. It's more of a government building than anything else. But it is still the residence of one of the most powerful and therefore famous people in the world, the President of the United States. Yes. What we're seeing here is nothing more and nothing less than a tour of the very White House. Of course, for national security reasons, not everything can be seen, but what we can see is the Oval Office, where the president usually works. And something you might not know about this office is that depending on the president, the furniture and decorations change. That's right, it's completely customizable. Currently, there's a colorful, furry rug with the U.S. seal and bronze busts of people whom the current president admires. In fact, the furniture that's there now was chosen by Joe Biden's brother. An election is coming up in the United States. I wonder how the Oval Office will look after that. Lenny Kravitz. When you have a celebrity's money, you can turn any property into a luxury mansion, no matter what it was before. And if you don't believe me, ask Lenny Kravitz, who transformed a Brazilian coffee plantation into his personal mansion. You see, Kravitz bought a 19th century coffee plantation and, after a long process, turned it into one of his favorite residences. It is located in the agricultural land surrounding Rio de Janeiro and still maintains a historic facade identical to what you would find on a plantation. However, the artist converted many of the production buildings into guest houses, gyms, pools, and even a recording studio for his music. Initially, it was a whimsical project, but it has become more and more the musician's primary residence, serving as a kind of retreat from the hustle and bustle of the city. The lands around the mansion still function as agricultural and cultivation lands where the musician actually works and produces. It's nice to see that some people haven't forgotten the importance of the fields. LeBron James. It seems that in every generation there is a basketball player who takes all the glory. In the 90s, it was the famous Michael Jordan, but today that title undoubtedly belongs to LeBron James, nicknamed King James, or the Little Emperor. And of course, when you get all the glory, you need a mansion to match, and he certainly has one. The property cost LeBron an incredible $52 million. It is located in Brentwood, an exclusive neighborhood in Los Angeles, very close to other famous neighborhoods like Beverly Hills and Bel Air, so it's in the hills of Los Angeles and has a direct view of the city's landscape. The mansion is approximately 15,842 square feet. It has 8 bedrooms and 11 bathrooms. And as you can see, it has a huge infinity pool from which you can see the stunning landscape. The house also includes a spa, a hydrotherapy room, a sauna, and even a fire pit surrounded by the pool. The mansion was designed by the famous architect Paul McLean and has been highlighted as one of the most aesthetically pleasing mansions in all of Los Angeles and its surroundings. A castle worthy of the current king of basketball, don't you think? Kendall Jenner. What we're seeing is one of the main residences of supermodel and television star Kendall Jenner, which was bought in 2019 and redesigned for an entire year to suit Kendall's tastes. In fact, she herself oversaw all the renovation work. The residence is in the hills of Los Angeles, hidden among the mountainous terrain surrounding the city, and acts somewhat like a mountain cabin to escape from the world. Jenner herself has ensured that the spaces remain as simple and elegant as possible to create an aura of tranquility and privacy, to the point that there are no televisions, or at least not in spaces like the living room or studios. It also features luxury spaces such as a huge pool, a mini bar, and even a painting studio, which is Kendall's favorite activity. And as you can see, everything has exquisite aesthetics. Rita Ora. This mansion is a true beauty, almost as lovely as its owner. It is the sanctuary of the famous London singer Rita Ora. It's from the Victorian era but has been remodeled to have a beautiful modern interior without changing the classic charm of the facade. As is the case with several London mansions, it was originally built in the 19th century and had some famous owners in its time. In fact, Rita chose this particular house because it previously belonged to the illustrator Arthur Rackham, who was one of the first people to illustrate Alice in Wonderland and one of the singer's favorite artists. The property retains several historical details like some chimneys and murals that have been around for over a century, but almost the entire interior has been modernized. According to the singer herself, everything in the house was done to create a comfortable space for her rather than to give an aura of elegance. Regarding exterior details, the house has a huge garden with fountains, statues, and all kinds of vegetation. It looks like it's straight out of a fairy tale and gives the illusion of being in a forest environment, even though the mansion is in the middle of one of the busiest cities in the world. Certainly an enviable house, don't you think? Gwyneth Paltrow. Many celebrities live strangely solitary lives, as the lives of personalities like movie stars or famous musicians often involve much more work than we usually imagine, and of course, very little time to spend with loved ones. So, celebrity mansions can sometimes be quite lonely. But of course there are exceptions, like the fortunate case of Gwyneth Paltrow, who created a mansion with the express purpose of sharing it with her family. And when I say she created it, I mean it literally, because the entire building we see here was built from scratch according to the specifications of the famous actress. As you can see, almost all the rooms have marble finishes, either white or black depending on the function of the room. For example, the bathrooms have black marble with golden details, and the kitchen has white marble with blue accents. Of course, the house is very elegant. It is a mansion after all. But according to Paltrow, the point of it all is to be a home for her family, and especially her children. It's good to know that at least a couple of celebrities have priorities similar to ours. Frank Lloyd Wright. What do you think the house of the most famous architect in the world would look like? Well, this unusual mansion we see here is the answer to that question. It is none other than the house that the famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright built for his son, and according to him, one of his favorite works in terms of design and functionality. Of course, it's not a common house in the slightest. Its design is based on the figure of spirals, and if you look closely, the entire structure of the house, including rooms and the driveway, forms a giant ascending spiral. This is quite remarkable given that it was built in the 1920s, when there wasn't the technology to produce curved glass or metal robust enough. So the architect had to use all his architectural knowledge to curve the house using only straight materials. According to Wright, spirals are a symbol of eternity and longevity, and he might have known something we don't by using these figures, as both Wright's son David and his wife Gladys, who lived in the house, each lived over 100 years. Located in the exclusive Arcadia neighborhood in Arizona, although it's not as large as some other mansions we've seen, it is so incredibly unique in its kind that it is more of an architectural treasure than a house. And I believe none of the other mansions on the list can hold that distinction, no matter how grand or beautiful they are. Jessica Alba. When you're a celebrity, you can have the house you want and make it as crazy and extravagant as you want. But some people simply choose to have an ordinary house, just significantly larger, like the famous actress Jessica Alba and her new house in Los Angeles, which she shares with her husband and children. Now, on the outside, it's a mansion with unique architecture and unmatched finishes that mimic black wood. However, the interior was modified to have the shape and function of a standard house. And well, the result is a bit amusing because everything inside this mansion is gigantic, but it's designed to have the appearance of a common house. If you look closely, it makes the people inside look much smaller than they actually are. Both Jessica and her children look very small inside the house given its enormous proportions. Aside from the curious visual effect, the house is quite elegant, but still remains a home for the famous actress and her family. It has little in terms of special luxuries, aside from a pool and a gigantic patio. I guess it's proof that you can live large without necessarily having excessive luxuries. Tyrese Gibson. A house so big that if I walked through all its rooms, I'd probably get calluses on my feet. That's how popular action actor Tyrese Gibson describes his impressive mansion in Atlanta. And the truth is, the more you look at it, the more accurate that description becomes, because it is truly enormous. It's located in the Buckhead suburb of Atlanta, Georgia, one of the city's most exclusive areas. It has approximately 2,800 square meters of living space, with 7 luxurious bedrooms, 9 full bathrooms, and 2.5 guest bathrooms. Tyrese's bedroom is located on the first floor and, for some reason, has an entry code. His bed is, according to the actor, much higher than all the others because in his childhood, he slept on the floor and wants to distance himself from that experience as much as possible. The kitchen functions more like a restaurant kitchen than a normal one, to the point that Tyrese has a professional chef working for him. The exteriors are covered in forest and vegetation, with the patio and pool being quite green. According to the actor, this was what led him to buy the property in the first place, as it gave the mansion a privacy and connection to nature he hadn't found in any other house. In the basement, there is a special section with a gym, an extra-large game area, and a guest suite. And as if that weren't enough, on the upper floors you can find a small theater, a recording studio with a gold microphone, and a meeting room. I hadn't known envy until I saw this actor's house. Maluma. Many of the mansions we've seen so far are located in popular cities like Los Angeles or London, where most of the world's rich and famous are usually concentrated. But that's not always the case. You can find celebrity mansions all over the world, like this one that belongs to the famous singer Maluma. Located in Medellin, Colombia, the mansion is located on the outskirts of Medellin, in an exclusive area with panoramic views of the city and the surrounding mountains. It has approximately 1,200 square meters of living space, with 6 bedrooms and 8 bathrooms. It also features high ceilings and large windows in much of the space, making it very bright. In terms of luxury, it includes a home theater, a gym, a 100 square meter pool, and a ping pong table. It's good to know that not all mansions are in Los Angeles. Naomi Campbell. Have you ever arrived at a place and fallen so madly in love with it that you wanted to buy a house in the area? Well, this happened to British actress and supermodel Naomi Campbell. And the place she fell in love with is perhaps one of the most exotic and unusual you can imagine. You see, for her residence, she chose the surreal coastal village of Malindi in Kenya, which is known for having some of the most beautiful beaches in Africa, almost identical to the best Caribbean islands, except that instead of being in the Atlantic, they are bathed by the Indian Ocean. Naomi traveled to this place in 1999, and since then has created for herself a huge villa that is basically a gigantic hotel for her, her family, and friends. It was built using the same techniques and materials that locals use to keep the interiors of their buildings cool in the heat of the day, only on a larger scale and with a somewhat more elegant finish. Hence, you'll find wooden structures with palm roofs. It has approximately 930 square meters of living space spread across several cottages and even a private beach. In total, there are 5 bedrooms and 7 bathrooms, as well as 2 different pools, one of which is covered by a traditional roof, as the heat in Kenya can be quite intense. Tell us in the comments, have you ever found a place where you'd like to build a house? I have, but unfortunately, I don't earn enough. Demi Lovato.
Baby, I'm the baddest. You fucking with a savage. Can't have this, can't have this.
How many different styles can you put in one house? Well, apparently, that was the question famous singer Demi Lovato asked herself when decorating her mansion, as it might be one of the houses with the most styles, so much so that from room to room, there are 180-degree changes in decor with completely different colors and schemes. According to the singer herself, she wanted every space in her house to be unique and not repeat colors. The concept is definitely unusual, but despite its oddity, it works quite well, as the different designs create a curious division of spaces without using walls or physical separators. In the middle of the house, there is an indoor garden for the singer's dogs, which connects to the real garden of the house, giving the dogs a sort of special room. Some might say it's the strangest and loudest mansion we've seen so far, but I like it. It's a reminder that sometimes we need to add a bit of color to life. The Weeknd.
I can feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it, but I love it.
You know, sometimes I can't feel my face when I'm with you, telling you about celebrity mansions. Just kidding. The one who can't feel his face is The Weeknd, especially after buying his latest mansion. You see, after his meteoric rise to fame, the very eccentric singer Abel Makinen Tesfaye, better known by his stage name The Weeknd, purchased one of the most exclusive homes in the Hidden Hills neighborhood, one of the most upscale areas north of Los Angeles. To give you an idea of who lives there, his new neighbors include personalities like Kanye West, Kim Kardashian, Drake, and Miley Cyrus. The mansion boasts an incredible 1,254 square meters with 7 bedrooms and 11 bathrooms. Moreover, the mansion is divided into 3 separate houses. It might be the best in the area as it's the only one with a view of the mountains from the back. In terms of luxury, there's a massive basketball court and an underground garage for the singer's luxury car collection, and of course a pool. But at this point, it's hard to find a mansion that doesn't have one. J Balvin. If I didn't have pictures to prove it, I don't think anyone would ever believe me if I said that reggaeton superstar J Balvin's mansion is almost completely inspired by Japanese buildings. Yes, just as you hear it, its style is so Japanese that if you saw it at first glance and no one told you its location, you might think it's in some rural part of Japan. But no, it's on the outskirts of Medellin, in the picturesque mountains surrounding the city, surrounded by several native forests of the area. It has approximately 1,000 square meters of space, including the structure and surrounding lands. As you can see, the house's divisions, floors, and several walls are almost identical to what you would see in a traditional Japanese house. However, J Balvin is nothing traditional when it comes to what you can find in the rooms, to the point that he has an entire room dedicated to his impressive shoe collection, so many that he can't even remember how many there are. The house has 5 bedrooms, and Balvin loves to change rooms every day to the point that he has made it a goal never to sleep in the same bed 2 days in a row. It also has a modest garage with space for 1 car and 2 motorcycles, but the singer cares little about his vehicles. The only thing he cares about in that garage is that his 2 dogs sleep and eat there, so he has arranged the space to make it comfortable for them. It's a bit strange that someone known for the flamboyant and irreverent nature of his music has a house that is so clean, calm, and minimalist. I suppose sometimes you can't judge a book by its cover. Lily Allen and David Harbour. Did you know that London singer Lily Allen and famous Stranger Things actor David Harbour are married? Yes, that's right. Despite how different these 2 celebrities may seem, they've been married since 2020 and have a mansion together that is quite elegant. Located in Brooklyn, it is quite unique among mansions. Originally a 19th century building, it was renovated by the couple, giving it a very particular style. It almost looks like a movie set with its fine decorations and wallpapers. Now, New York is a particularly difficult place to have a mansion since space in the city is almost non-existent, which leads to unusual proportions and strange designs like windowless rooms or closets that are a bit larger than the actual room. But hey, in a very strange way, it works just like this mismatched couple. Kevin Hart. With a decent-sized house or apartment, you can set up a small office to work remotely using a room or a studio. It works for me, but it turns out, if you're rich enough, you can turn your entire office into a house. And if you don't believe me, just ask the famous actor Kevin Hart, who customized his Hollywood office to the point that it's like a small house away from home, which he named Heartbeat. When it comes to offices, it's perhaps the most comfortable you've ever seen, with a huge business bar, a giant living room with a fireplace, a conference room for interviews that looks like it's from a TV show, a makeup room like the ones found on a Hollywood production, and of course, since Hart's industry is film, a fully equipped home theater. And let's not forget the workspace itself, which is quite enviable. And if that's just his office, I can't imagine what his house must be like. I think I speak for everyone when I say that Kevin Hart made all our offices look like trash in comparison, don't you think? Aaron Paul. After all the amazing mansions we've seen, it would be easy to associate the word mansion with a giant modern house. But it turns out that occasionally celebrities opt for more rustic options, like Aaron Paul, who gained fame by playing one of the main characters in the famous series Breaking Bad. Unlike many other celebrities, he decided to create a property not with cutting-edge materials, but by using a barn originally built by Amish communities as the base. Although this was just the base, it was later built around with brick and stone. And look, the result is this beautiful and cozy giant cabin. It also features what might be the most incredible basement we've seen, as it functions more like a secret recreation area with a small bar, a pool table, game tables, and a huge shelf where the actor keeps mementos from the movies and series he's acted in. Terry Crews. You'll hardly find someone as incredibly charismatic as actor Terry Crews, famous for his Old Spice commercials and his role in the acclaimed comedy series Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And I'm happy to announce that in addition to being charismatic, he's humble, because he's part of the select group of celebrities who have opted for a normal house rather than an extravagant palace. In fact, Terry's main residence is an apartment, not a house. And while it's very well located in downtown Los Angeles, it's still just a large apartment, not even a penthouse. However, it's filled with the actor's eccentricities, like several unusual mementos from all the works he's been involved in, displayed around the apartment as decorations. Like many of us, Terry has a small studio dedicated to his passions, such as video games and animation. And to be honest, those studios are actually a bit small, reminding us that being a celebrity isn't always synonymous with being a wealthy spendthrift. There are a few celebrities who, deep down, never stopped being regular people like the rest of us. Alicia Keys. There are certain mansions that can be almost as famous as the people living in them, and this is one of those cases. It's the famous mansion known as the Razor House. Located in La Jolla, San Diego, this mansion is a landmark in architecture as it was designed by renowned architect Wallace E. Cunningham in an incredibly luxurious futuristic style with some of the most stunning views of the Pacific Ocean. The mansion is built almost entirely of glass, steel, and concrete, giving it a minimalist and ultra-modern appearance. Most of the windows have direct ocean views. It boasts approximately 11,000 square feet of living space, including 6 bedrooms and 8 bathrooms. Among the many amenities this incredible house has are a state-of-the-art cinema, a game room, and a fully equipped gym. The exterior of the Razor House is also quite striking and iconic, with multiple terraces, an infinity pool, and a spa, all with uninterrupted ocean views. In 2019, the house was purchased by the famous singer Alicia Keys and her husband, producer Swizz Beatz, for a reported price of $20.8 million. Sofia Vergara. It's always nice to see other Latin Americans succeeding in life, and this is perhaps one of the most picturesque examples of that. We're talking about the majestic mansion of the well-known Colombian actress Sofia Vergara. The mansion is located in Beverly Hills, perhaps one of the most exclusive areas of Los Angeles. Vergara and her now ex-husband, actor Joe Manganiello, acquired this property in 2020 for approximately $26 million. Unlike other celebrities who tend to have multiple houses and mansions, Sofia prefers to have a single home rather than several mansions. Moreover, the famous actress is quite proud of how she has turned it into a unique place for herself and her family. The mansion is equipped with a range of entertainment amenities, including a home theater, a wine cellar, a game room, a fully equipped gym, an executive-style office, and it also has a place where Sofia keeps her expensive and extensive porcelain collection. The exterior of the property is as impressive as the interior. The landscaped gardens, designed to maximize the natural beauty of the surroundings, include several terraces, an infinity pool, a spa, and an outdoor kitchen with a barbecue area. Michael Jordan. Back in the 90s, the most famous person of all was, by far, Michael Jordan, becoming the most famous basketball player who ever lived. And of course, with all that fame, the man created one of the biggest and most spectacularly customized mansions of all. Known simply as 2700 Point Lane, the mansion is located in Highland Park, Illinois. It boasts approximately 50,200 square feet of living space, spread across several wings and levels, although keep in mind that part of that space is dedicated to basketball courts. The entrance is iconic, with an iron gate bearing Jordan's famous number 23. The interiors are decorated with high-end furniture and custom details featuring the image of the legendary athlete. The house includes 9 bedrooms, 19 bathrooms, a gourmet kitchen, formal and informal dining rooms, and several living and entertainment rooms. Of course, the mansion has a regulation-sized basketball court with spectator seating and its own sound system. Additionally, the property includes a state-of-the-art gym and a weight room. Now, here's something interesting about this mansion. Since 2012, Jordan has been trying to sell it for $29 million, but no one has bought it. The mansion is so customized that it doesn't appeal to buyers at all, because if you have $29 million, you might as well buy your own mansion rather than someone else's, no matter how famous they are. The difficulty in selling it has been so great that the property has experienced several price reductions, yet no buyer has shown interest. I guess those are the problems of being too successful. Jeff Bezos. If you've ever bought something on Amazon, then you've indirectly contributed to the purchase of this enormous palace, the latest home of Jeff Bezos, one of the richest and most powerful men in the world. It's his mansion in Beverly Hills, which comes with an incredible price tag of $165 million. The property spans 12,634 square feet, with enormous gardens and even a 9-hole golf course. Moreover, the billionaire bought the surrounding properties solely to have more privacy. Originally, this palace was built in the 1930s for one of the co-founders of Warner Brothers. It has 8 bedrooms and 9 bathrooms, a bar, and a dining room equipped for 40 people. The facade of the house is designed to somewhat resemble the White House. Meanwhile, many of us struggle to buy a 35-square-meter apartment in a dubious location. Bill Gates. Bill Gates changed the world forever by popularizing computing and extending it to ordinary people. That's right. You're watching this video right now thanks to his inventions, so he has reasons to be one of the richest men in history. And of course, you might wonder, what kind of house could such an influential man have? Well, let me introduce you to the Xanadu 2.0 mansion. Located in Medina, Washington, this house is perhaps one of the most technologically advanced mansions on this list. It is situated on a 66,000 square foot plot on a hillside overlooking Lake Washington. Its construction began in 1988 and was completed in 1995 at an approximate cost of $63 million. The house is equipped with a state-of-the-art system that allows residents to control lighting, temperature, music, and other systems through sensors and mobile devices. Each room can automatically adjust these settings according to the occupant's personal preferences. One of the mansion's jewels is the enormous library, which contains an extensive collection of rare and valuable books. Notably, it includes the Codex Leicester, a manuscript by Leonardo da Vinci that Gates acquired for over $30 million. The library also features high ceilings, a fireplace, and a dome with an inscription of a quote from The Great Gatsby. The mansion boasts an indoor pool with an underwater music system, a high-tech gym, a trampoline room, and a movie theater with a capacity for 20 people. There is also a reception hall with a capacity for 200 guests. Despite its size, Xanadu 2.0 has been designed to be energy efficient. The house uses geothermal heating and cooling systems and solar panels to reduce its carbon footprint. Additionally, the landscaping design includes native trees and plants to minimize the need for irrigation and maintenance. Richard Branson. Why stop at a mansion when you can buy your own island and use it as your main residence? This is what the eccentric billionaire Richard Branson thought when he bought an entire island in the Caribbean to become his base of operations and personal retreat. The island in question is Necker Island, located in the Caribbean near the British Virgin Islands, approximately 1,770 kilometers southeast of Miami, Florida. Branson acquired the island in 1978 when he was only 28 years old for around $180,000. Since then, he has invested millions in transforming it into a world-class luxury resort. The island, which spans about 74 acres, has hosted numerous celebrities, exclusive events, and high-profile meetings. For Richard, Necker Island is not just an investment or a luxury resort, but a personal refuge and a home. Branson and his family spend a significant amount of time on the island, enjoying its natural beauty. It also serves as the headquarters of the Virgin Unite Foundation, the charitable arm of the Virgin Group, which works on various humanitarian and environmental initiatives. Tell us in the comments, what would you do if you had an island all to yourself? Oprah. This is one of the largest and most dazzling mansions ever built, Promised Land, the Palace of Oprah Winfrey, one of the most successful and richest women in the world. Located in Montecito, one of the most exclusive communities in Santa Barbara, California, Promised Land offers views of both the sea and the mountains. All the rooms are designed to have a great view of one of the two panoramas. The estate spans approximately 70 acres, and the building itself is 464 square meters. Besides the main house, the property features several additional structures, including guest houses, a tea pavilion, and a pool house. You heard that right, a pool house. Oprah is so incredibly wealthy that she doesn't have a pool in her house, but a house for her pool. The interiors of the mansion are decorated with a combination of classical elegance and modern comfort in the neoclassical style. The spaces are spacious and bright, with large windows offering spectacular views and allowing abundant natural light to enter. It was acquired for approximately $50 million. Since then, Oprah has made numerous renovations and improvements to personalize and update the property. John Travolta. Did you know that John Travolta, in addition to being an actor, singer, and film producer, is also a certified pilot? Yes, and if that wasn't clear enough, take a look at his mansion, which has its own airport. It is known as Jumbo Lair, located in Ocala, Florida. As you can see, everything in this mansion is designed to accommodate a fully functional runway right in front. If he so desires, Travolta can land a plane and walk straight to his front door. The runway is long and robust enough to accommodate large planes, including Travolta's own Boeing 707. It also has 2 hangars, allowing the actor to keep his planes in perfect condition and ready to fly at any time. Besides the mini airport, the mansion is equipped with numerous amenities, including an outdoor pool, a private cinema, a gym, and outdoor entertainment areas. Robert Downey Jr. Usually, when you think of Robert Downey Jr., you think of his most famous character, Iron Man. And with that mental image, you might believe his home would be some kind of gigantic, high-tech penthouse, but the reality is quite different. The Downey family's home has a much cozier and more eccentric feel. His house is located in East Hampton and was built around a historic 19th century windmill that was renovated and converted into a mansion. The Downeys have preserved many of the original elements of the windmill, so as part of the design of their home, you can see exposed wooden beams, stone walls, and other original architectural details. The property features expansive gardens, a pool, and several outdoor recreation areas. And as you can see, the interior is full of rooms with comfortable sofas to relax on, and in fact, it is not so different from an ordinary living room in a house. Of course, being such a wealthy and famous family, the Downeys have more than one house, but this one particularly serves not only as a weekend retreat for them, but also as a creative space where they can express their love for art and design. Imagine that, an entire house just for weekend use. Will Smith. When you're as famous and wealthy as Will Smith, you can afford to buy not just a mansion, but a mansion on wheels. Known as the Heat, this astonishing motorhome has 2 floors and 1,200 square feet. The vehicle was designed to offer all the comforts of a luxury residence while on the move. It has an estimated cost of around $2.5 million and has been used by Will Smith during the filming of several of his movies, as well as for his personal comfort during the long trips that his career often requires. The motorhome features several compartments that expand to offer more space, including a living room, an office, and several rest areas. The interiors are equipped with high-end furniture, modern appliances, and state-of-the-art technology systems, including a high-end entertainment system with multiple television screens, a surround sound system, and high-speed internet connectivity. Additionally, it has an automation system that allows the control of lights, temperature, and electronic devices through a central panel. Wow. I'm not sure how to feel about the fact that a motorhome is bigger than all the houses I've ever been in. Penn Jillette. How much money do you think one of the most famous magicians in the world can make? Well, you'd be surprised because it's enough to create and maintain a mega mansion in the middle of the Mojave Desert. We're talking about the strange mansion known as the Slammer, owned by the famous American magician Penn Jillette. The property initially cost only $184,000, but the magician invested millions to adapt it to his eccentric tastes. Initially, the project was a strange prison-themed mansion, but little by little it became more colorful until it turned into a complex with 7 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, and 2 guest bathrooms. And yes, those garish, mismatched colors were created on purpose by the magician. And in case you're wondering, the interior has even more extravagant colors and decorations. According to Penn Jillette himself, the Slammer is the kind of house that would be created if you gave a 12-year-old a lot of money and access to renowned architects. The mansion is divided into 3 distinct sections: the family section containing the kitchen and the rooms of his wife and children, the work section with a completely pink office, and the entertainment section, which has 2 floors and a home theater with 14 seats. There is even a recording studio where Penn records his podcast. In the end, Penn Jillette sold the property because, while it was a lot of fun, it was in the middle of the desert, and it was difficult for him to be going back and forth all the time. The mansion sold for $3 million. Johnny Depp. When you're a millionaire, you can buy huge mansions. And then there's Johnny Depp, who can buy an entire French village. Yes, you heard that right. The famous actor bought an entire village in the French Riviera to make his own retreat. The villa is located in the picturesque village of Plan de la Tour, near Saint-Tropez on the French Riviera coast. Depp acquired this property in 2001 and spent years renovating it, transforming it into a dream residence without changing the rustic charm of the place. The property spans approximately 37 acres and comprises several structures, including a main house, guest houses, a chapel, a private restaurant, and a series of cottages. George Lucas. When you're the creator of one of the most important and beloved franchises of all time, you can afford to have a mega mansion like this, Skywalker Ranch. Lucas bought the land where his mansion would be located in 1978, a year after the release of the first Star Wars movie. At that time, his fame and fortune had only just begun, but since then, the ranch has only grown and today covers 4,700 acres, which, to give you an idea, is larger than Los Angeles International Airport. The filmmaker's mansion, as well as several studios and offices, occupy a relatively small part of the ranch, with only 29,500 square feet being urbanized. The rest consists of vineyards, animal spaces, and gardens. There are future plans to create several studios for filming, but their creation has been delayed due to concerns that it might harm the area's ecology. Chloe Bailey. Not all celebrities live in houses. Some, like us, opt to live in apartments for practicality, especially those closer to the cities. However, the apartments of the rich and famous are very different from ours. Take, for example, the palace of singer-songwriter and actress Chloe Bailey. Her home is located in an exclusive area of Los Angeles in the hills, giving her a panoramic view of the city. This also allows her to be close to recording studios and film sets. The singer has a home recording studio that, while not very large, is completely functional. As for decor, the singer has chosen stills from her music videos and even an oil painting of her and her sister on stage. The apartment is quite large, a titan in terms of apartments, with about 1,600 square feet of space. But it's manageable enough to not be overwhelming. It's nice to know that at least a couple of celebrities have homes with a decent size after all. Who needs all that space? Mohammed bin Salman. In the past, the palaces of the French monarchy were some of the most elegant ever created, and following that tradition, some architects have tried to recreate these palaces for the modern world, such as this beauty here, Chateau Louis XIV. Located in Louveciennes, about 20 kilometers west of Paris, despite its appearance as an ancient castle, it was recently built by Saudi real estate developer Ahmad Khashoggi, with the intention of recreating the opulence and style of Louis XIV's reign. The interiors are decorated with marble, hand-painted frescoes, gilded moldings, and custom furniture. The property has 10 suites, numerous reception rooms, and formal dining rooms, all equipped with luxurious details and carefully selected works of art. Although the castle emulates the grandeur of past eras, it is equipped with cutting-edge technology. It includes advanced systems that control lighting, security, temperature, and entertainment through mobile devices. It also features a wide range of luxury amenities, including an indoor and an outdoor pool, a private cinema, a wine cellar with a capacity for 3,000 bottles, a ballroom, and an underground aquarium. In 2015, The chateau was acquired by an anonymous buyer for the astonishing sum of 275 million euros, making it the most expensive house sold in the world at that time. It was later revealed that the buyer was the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman. Aaron Spelling. Why would anyone want a house bigger than the Taj Mahal or the White House? Well, we may never know the answer to that question, but what we do know is that such a house does exist. It is the mansion known simply as The Manor, located in Holmby Hills, Los Angeles, and it's one of the largest and most luxurious in the United States. Its construction was commissioned in 1988 by television producer Aaron Spelling and his wife, Candy Spelling. It is situated on approximately 4.7 acres in one of the most exclusive and expensive areas of Los Angeles. It has approximately 123 rooms, including 14 bedrooms and 27 bathrooms. The interiors are decorated with exquisite details, such as high ceilings, marble floors, and gilded moldings. It has a private cinema, a bowling alley, an ice rink, an indoor and outdoor pool, a fully equipped gym, and a wine cellar. Additionally, the property boasts a hair salon, a massage room, and a flower shop. After Aaron Spelling's death in 2006, his widow Candy Spelling put the mansion up for sale in 2009. In 2011, the property was bought by British heiress Petra Ecclestone for $85 million. Ecclestone then made renovations and redecorations before putting it back on the market. In 2019, the mansion was sold for a record $119.75 million. Mukesh Ambani. There are few properties that surpass $1 billion, and this is one of them. A true modern-age palace filled with luxury and, above all, a lot of controversy. It is the mega building known as Antilia, located in Mumbai, India. Built by Mukesh Ambani, the chairman of Reliance Industries and one of the richest men in the world, he is something like the Tony Stark of India. The mansion has 27 floors, but due to its high ceilings, its height is equivalent to a 60-floor building. The structure is designed to withstand earthquakes up to 8 on the Richter scale. Each floor has a different theme and is uniquely decorated. From hanging gardens to floors with minimalist decor, each level of Antilia is a visual experience, though few have managed to enter. There are 6 floors dedicated to garages that can accommodate up to 168 cars. It also has its own gas station. The main lobby has 9 elevators, each designed for different parts of the house. The mansion has everything: a spa, gym, indoor pool, jacuzzi, and yoga and dance studios. A cinema with a capacity for 50 people. It is even rumored that there is a room specifically designed for snowflakes to fall constantly. However, the construction of Antilia has generated much criticism as it was built right in front of some of the poorest areas of Mumbai, which some people consider in very bad taste and a direct insult to the less fortunate. Diplo. Have you ever wondered what the mansion of one of the world's most famous DJs looks like? Well, wonder no more, because what we're seeing here is none other than the home of Diplo, one of the biggest names in electronic music. It is the impressive mansion known as Pompeia in Portland, Jamaica, in the northwest part of the island. It is specially designed to take advantage of the beautiful views of the wild mountains of the island, which are full of jungle. To do this, the mansion is full of terraces, pavilions, and bridges, essentially a large balcony with many subdivisions. The house has a curious brutalist style where the concrete is left as it is, without any finish beyond the texture and color of common concrete. And look, the land around the building is used to grow all kinds of foods like bananas, pineapples, and sweet potatoes. There is even a stable with horses. According to Diplo himself, he made sure to make his house as simple and natural as possible to get a break from the type of environments that electronic music takes him to. And for this reason, almost all the spaces in the house are completely open. Of course, since this is the mansion of a DJ, there is also a fully equipped music studio, with a living room included, where he usually works and collaborates with other musicians. Karen Gillan. With all the huge and crazy mansions we've seen, it's good to know that some celebrities opt for homes more similar to ours, like Karen Gillan and her cozy house in Los Angeles. The house dates back to the 1930s, and as you can see, the entire decor is more or less from that era with elegant wooden details and classic wallpaper. According to Karen, her house looks a lot like her grandparents in Scotland. And truthfully, it resembles the homes of many of our grandparents. In her office, she keeps many gifts from her fans and mementos she has accumulated from all her movies. It's good to know that at least some celebrities retain a bit of modesty and humility when choosing a home. George Clooney. Sometimes actors fall in love with the locations where they shoot their movies and end up buying houses nearby. That's what happened to George Clooney. As part of one of the Ocean's 11 movies, Clooney had to travel to the lakeside village of Laglio and fell in love with the landscapes where you can see Lake Como and the Alps. He bought the property in 2002, and today it is known as Villa Oleandra. It was built in the 18th century and has preserved much of its original architecture, being a classic example of Italian architecture with stucco facades, red tile roofs, and elegant stone details. The property consists of several buildings, including the main house, a guest house, and various outbuildings. The interior of Villa Oleandra combines historical elements with modern comforts, creating a timeless luxury ambiance. The living room is spacious and bright, decorated with period furniture and artwork. The high ceilings and large windows allow natural light to flood in, enhancing the sense of space. The use of warm colors and noble materials such as wood and marble provide a sense of comfort and elegance. The property features gardens and marble statues, a swimming pool, and even a private tennis court, as well as several balconies with direct views of the lake. Additionally, the property has a private dock where small boats can moor. Kanye West. Kanye West's Malibu mansions of celebrities can turn into real estate nightmares. Purchased in 2021 for $57.3 million, this home, designed by the acclaimed architect Tadao Ando, was set to be a stunning architectural gem. However, what could have been a luxurious seaside retreat became an expensive, abandoned shell. Known for his perfectionism and eccentricity, Kanye began dismantling the mansion, stripping away essential features like windows, electricity, and even walls. His vision was to create a minimalist, bunker-like space, but his obsession with earthy tones and absolute control led him to abandon the project entirely, leaving the property in a state of disrepair for nearly 3 years. This chaotic project not only devalued the property, but also created turmoil for those involved. Tony Saxon, a former employee, was fired after refusing to comply with Kanye's bizarre demands, such as removing all windows and power from the house. Saxon even had to sleep on the floor during his time working there, with no access to basic amenities. After failing to find a buyer willing to pay the original asking price of $53 million, Kanye was forced to sell the mansion in 2024 for just $21 million, resulting in a nearly $40 million loss.
Ouch.
After sitting abandoned for almost 3 years, what was once a promising architectural masterpiece became a symbol of Kanye's grand ideas gone wrong. Taylor Swift.
My ex-man brought his new
It's a bit sad to think that while some people struggle to pay rent, others have so much money that they can abandon mansions without a second thought. And this is a rather controversial example of that. Rumor has it that this massive building we're looking at was a property that the famous Taylor Swift bought in 2011 for her parents. According to the rumor, the singer abruptly halted construction and abandoned it entirely when her parents separated, leaving the building unfinished. The property itself is about 22,991 square feet and has a gigantic garage that could hold several cars. Although it's unclear how many rooms it has or if the mansion was ever completed, today, the building is slowly falling apart, with at least part of its facade being overtaken by climbing plants. When asked about the mansion, the responses from Taylor or her family have been suspiciously vague, as she has never given a definitive no. This adds to Taylor's bad reputation for being extremely wasteful, using private jets even for the shortest trips. But tell us in the comments, what do you think? Could the rumors be true? Rihanna.
like diamonds in the
Although they hold a place in our hearts, celebrities can be wasteful and incredibly capricious. When you have more money than most people will see in their entire lives, it's easy to lose touch with reality and treat your luxuries the way ordinary people treat disposable items. This is a perfect example of that. What we're seeing here is an abandoned mansion in California that once belonged to the famous Rihanna, costing a whopping $9.8 million. Today, the mansion is in a state of complete abandonment, with vegetation slowly consuming the tennis courts and the gardens almost unrecognizable due to the wild growth surrounding the rest of the property. while the house had a few owners after the singer. It remains a good example of the problem with many mansions. Celebrities and wealthy individuals often have to move frequently, and in those cases, having a huge house ends up being more of a burden than anything else. That's why many celebrities constantly sell their houses or own several of them. Drake. You need an almost superhuman level of ego to buy an entire mansion just to demolish it. But according to many sources, this is exactly what the famous Canadian singer did, although the details are a bit confusing. The story goes like this. Initially, Drake bought a modest property in Bridle Path, one of Toronto's most popular neighborhoods. And from there, the famous singer began making plans to create a truly titanic mansion where just his room alone was twice the size of an average house. At the same time, he demolished his previous house and began constructing a new one. However, Drake's project was so excessive that the city of Toronto and even his own neighbors tried to stop him. And what did the singer do? Well, faced with these difficulties, he simply bought the two mansions on either side of his house and left them abandoned, as we can see here, while waiting to get the permits to demolish them entirely. Prince William. When you have enough power and money, it's easy to lose your sense of responsibility, and the British royal family has plenty of both. So it's not surprising to hear stories like this one about a beautiful but forgotten mansion. You see, this residence was one of the most popular in England and was owned by huge personalities such as Queen Elizabeth II and Sir Elton John. It sits on a 77-acre piece of land that has been classified as one of the most expensive plots in all of the British Isles and dates back to the late 19th century, making it one of the most famous historic mansions. For a time, Prince William and Kate Middleton considered renovating it and making it their home. They almost reserved it for themselves and were about to start working on it. But for unknown reasons, they completely lost interest, and the house was left abandoned to the mercy of time. Although the grounds are still quite beautiful, the house is in such a state of abandonment that the local police have started using it as a place to train police dogs. And this reveals a little secret about mansions. Sometimes their maintenance costs are so ridiculously high that even the English royalty doesn't want to pay them. So at least we can say that we can maintain our apartments. Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain, the leader of Nirvana, was a pivotal figure in 90s music, but his life was tragically cut short. In 1994, he was found dead in his home, which still stands today but is now completely empty. Cobain and his partner, Courtney Love, bought the house that year for approximately $1.48 million and named it In Utero. The home bore witness to significant moments in their lives, including Cobain's battle with addiction and depression. During their brief time there, they sought some semblance of normalcy amid the chaos of fame and personal struggles. After Cobain's death, the house was abandoned and has since become a pilgrimage site for fans. However, the structure is now uninhabitable and faces the risk of demolition, as it does not qualify for preservation as a historic landmark. Will Smith. What you desire at the start of your career may not be the same as what you want years later. That's why what was once a great achievement can become something forgotten and abandoned. Like this mansion, which was one of the first homes that the famous Will Smith bought during the early years of his acting career in Philadelphia back in the 90s. Of course, back then, the actor didn't have the fame he has today, so this is just a high-end house, barely qualifying as a mansion. Since then, it has changed owners twice. And for reasons that are not well understood, it ended up completely abandoned. What's more, the last owner left all their possessions behind before leaving. Today, Will Smith can afford some of the most extravagant properties, including RVs with over 1,076 square feet of space. But it's always important to remember that we all come from more humble beginnings. P. Diddy. In the world of celebrities, success and wealth seem to be the norm. However, even the most famous are not immune to the ups and downs of life, and a clear example of this is the story of Sean Combs' abandoned mansion, better known as P. Diddy. Located in Dunwoody, an exclusive suburb of Atlanta, the property was a symbol of his opulence and success. With its 19,999 square feet, multiple rooms, bathrooms, pool, and tennis court, it was the dream of any millionaire. In 2003, When Combs acquired it, he was at the peak of his career, reaping successes in both music and business. His reputation for making money from anything he touched preceded him, but the mansion had other plans. The 2008 real estate and economic crisis hit Combs hard, forcing him to abandon the costly renovations he was making to the property. The funds for the project dried up, leaving the house half-finished and in a state of abandonment that has worsened over time. What were once crystal-clear pools are now stagnant water pits, and mold has taken over the walls. The deterioration is such that the cost of restoration would far exceed the original value of the property. Today, it has become a magnet for urban explorers and curious onlookers who want to document its current state. In their photos and videos, you can see the deteriorated rooms, with signs of vandalism and the inevitable wear of abandonment. Some even claim to have found expensive furniture still in place, covered in dust and showing the passage of time. It is undoubtedly a reminder that even the richest and most famous are not invincible, and that fortune and success are as fleeting as anything else in life. Marilyn Monroe. In New York State, near the Canadian border, the old Niagara Hotel still stands. It was once one of the most elegant places in the United States, hosting major personalities such as Frank Sinatra, President John F. Kennedy, and even the notorious gangster Al Capone. However, perhaps the celebrity most associated with the hotel is the famous Marilyn Monroe, who stayed there so often that she considered it a second home. The hotel was the backdrop for some of Marilyn's toughest years, as she came to New York seeking a change in her life and career, and above all, trying to escape the world of Hollywood, a goal she sadly never achieved. After Marilyn's tragic death in 1962, the hotel fell into a state of decline that continued throughout the second half of the 20th century, finally closing its doors for good in 2007. In 2019, attempts were made to renovate it at a cost of $42 million, but the following year's pandemic collapsed the effort, and to this day, it remains abandoned. The hotel no longer has any furniture, but it still retains much of the golden plaster moldings and many of the crystal chandeliers, giving us a small glimpse of how it must have looked in the past. And of course, a place like this is bound to have rumors and legends. Donna Summer. At the end of the day, what really matters is not the material things we accumulate in life, but what we achieve with our time on Earth. This abandoned mansion is perhaps one of the best examples of that. It was the last residence of Donna Summer, which now lies in a state of total abandonment. Younger generations may not remember her, but Donna was a 70s icon, earning the title the Queen of Disco, with songs like Hot Stuff, Bad Girls, and Last Dance. Located in Nashville, Tennessee, it was an impressive property, purchased in 1994 for around $8 million, and she moved in with her family in 1995. It featured numerous rooms, a large pool, meticulously maintained gardens, and multiple entertainment areas. After Summer's death in 2012, the mansion was abandoned as the singer's family moved to other properties and couldn't return to the house due to the pain of being in what had been Donna's favorite home and the enormous costs of maintaining a house that no one really wanted to live in. Without the necessary attention and care, the mansion began to deteriorate. The gardens became overgrown, and the pool was left empty. The exterior is dilapidated, but the interior of the house is surprisingly clean, as there is still some hope of selling it. The property holds considerable value due to its size and location, but as time passes, the damage increases. In the end, what we truly remember about people is what they did, not what they owned. No one remembers the mansion, but no one will forget Donna's voice and charm. So perhaps it's better to worry less about acquiring a mansion and more about doing things that people will remember. Tiger Woods. It's hard to understand why someone would abandon a mansion, and of course, doing so is pure waste of money. But sometimes you can partly understand why someone might want to get rid of these mega homes, like in the case of this monstrous and mysterious place. This $12 million house lies abandoned, and it's rumored to have once belonged to the famous golfer Tiger Woods. But with just one look inside, you'll get at least a small idea of why it ended up uninhabited. The internal structure of the house is quite unsettling, with long hallways connecting oddly shaped rooms, creating a circular pattern. These rooms are uncomfortably angular, and even with furniture, the house creates a liminal space effect, giving it a truly eerie feel. There's something silently chilling about the spaces in this house. Even urban explorers were noticeably disturbed inside. I'm not saying one should waste $12 million by abandoning a mansion, but I think I can partly understand why the owner wanted to stay away from this place. Birdman. Natural disasters can change anyone's life, even the richest and most powerful, and this is an example of that. The original owner of the house was Brian Williams, better known as Birdman, who is a prominent figure in the hip-hop world and co-founder of the influential record label Cash Money Records, which made him a hip-hop mogul. The property was originally built in the 90s and was Williams's residence until Hurricane Katrina devastated the city of New Orleans, taking with it the 10,900 square foot mansion. The place never recovered from the damage, and Birdman himself never returned to it, leaving it abandoned for decades because the damage to the house was so extensive that repairing it would far exceed the initial value, not to mention the fact that property values plummeted after the hurricane. Today, the mansion's pools are so full of algae that they are completely green and almost indistinguishable from the local swamps. There's nothing of value left in the house. Everything that wasn't bolted down was looted or damaged beyond any chance of repair. In the end, no matter how much money or fame we have, we are all at the mercy of Mother Nature. Nelly. Fame and the money that comes with it are not forever. At some point, all singers stop being popular, and the money dries up. Well, maybe not entirely, thanks to royalties, but there are definitely times when wealth stops growing. The popular rapper and actor Cornell Eral Haynes, better known as Nelly, found this out the hard way. This singer rose to fame in the 2000s with hits like Hot in Harry and Dilemma, and in 2002 he bought a mansion in St. Louis, Missouri. The house was about 10,000 square feet, featuring more than 6 spacious bedrooms, bathrooms, marble jacuzzis, a pool, gym, and a basketball court. Nelly had plans to buy, renovate, and eventually sell the mansion. He didn't actually want to live there. But then financial problems hit, and the singer's popularity began to fade just when he needed it most. In the end, he couldn't sell the house in time, and it lost value until it was no longer profitable. Soon, the maintenance costs exceeded what Nelly could earn from selling it. Eventually, he lost interest in the mansion, and it was forgotten. The house has been well preserved for being abandoned, and although it is vacant, both the facade and interior have not fallen victim to the passage of time, at least not as severely as other examples we've seen. In 2020, Nelly put the mansion up for sale, offering the property at a reduced price in the hope that a new owner could restore it and take advantage of its potential. David Gilmour. Perhaps you've heard of someone moving out of their house because they claimed it was haunted. Well, it happens to celebrities too, as in the case of Hook End Manor. This was a mansion located in the picturesque village of Checkendon, Oxfordshire, England, built in the 16th century and originally a monastery. Over time, it underwent several modifications and expansions, and in the 1970s it was acquired by David Gilmour, the guitarist of Pink Floyd. During the following years, the mansion became an epicenter of musical creativity. Legendary bands and artists such as Pink Floyd, The Cure, Rod Stewart, Marillion, and Tom Jones recorded some of their most famous albums at this place. The house was one of Gilmour's favorites, but over the years, both he and his wife reported cold and eerie presences. Eventually, he moved out, and the property was sold to Trevor Horn, a well-known music producer. Under his ownership, the studio continued to be a renowned spot in the music industry. However, after being sold again, the mansion fell into disuse. Local legend has it that what led to this popular studio's downfall was the restless spirit of a 7-year-old boy who was buried in the house long before the mansion became famous. The state of the place has raised concerns among heritage advocates and the local community. There is growing interest in preserving it due to its historical and cultural value. And as we've seen, renovating such places requires a lot of money. Genshiro Kawamoto. Success, fame, and above all, money aren't everything. You can have all the money and mansions in the world, but if nothing fills your heart, then it means absolutely nothing. And this abandoned building is a grim reminder of that. What we're seeing here are the ruins of what was once the mansion of Genshiro Kawamoto, one of the few billionaires in Japan who became incredibly wealthy thanks to the real estate market. Kawamoto acquired approximately 27 properties in Kahala, a neighborhood known for being one of the most prestigious and expensive in Honolulu. However, instead of maintaining these mansions, Kawamoto let them deteriorate. Inside these mansions, there are still priceless treasures like bronze and marble statues, boxes of some of the world's most expensive cognacs, and even tiger skin rugs. But all of it lies completely abandoned and in a state of decay. According to the story, Kawamoto lost a loved one, although it's unclear whether it was due to death or because this person no longer wanted to see him. But what's certain is that this had a terrible effect on the billionaire, who abandoned all his properties and disappeared from public life to the point that today, no one knows where he is. The last time he was seen was in 2013, the year he sold some of his properties. In the end, crime never pays, and this abandoned mansion is proof of that, with a story almost like a movie. This beautiful villa is located on the coast of New York State. It was built in 1988 with a massive 11,991 square feet of living space and an impressive sea view. At one time, it was owned by Perry and Alex Crisciatelli, both gentlemen involved with a mafia family. In 2012, the mansion was put up for sale and suspiciously quickly bought for $5 million. The new inhabitants were a wealthy family from Egypt, led by Abdel Asser Kamal Sheda Esmail, who lived there until the house was hit by a hurricane 6 months later. This is where the drama begins, as the Egyptian family made sure to make the house hurricane-proof, spending suspiciously large amounts of money on the repair and adaptation of the mansion. It turns out that all the expenses to adapt the house were actually a smokescreen to launder money and commit fraud, which resulted in a tax debt of up to $55,600. When they were about to be caught, Abdel Asser and his family escaped, leaving the mansion completely abandoned with all the belongings inside. To this day, nothing is known about him or his family. Blue Horizon. They say the house always wins, but in this case it lost a lot because this casino cruise ship never set sail. I know, it's not exactly a mansion, but there's a certain dark fascination in seeing how the most exclusive places turn into ruins, and we just couldn't pass up the opportunity to show you what an abandoned luxury cruise ship looks like, waiting to be scrapped. This was the Blue Horizon, a casino cruise ship once owned by Casino Cruises, and a perfect example of how fragile, ultra-luxurious projects can be. You see, this ship was supposed to set sail from Palm Beach as a sort of small ambassador of Las Vegas on the high seas. However, damage to the communication systems caused it to stay much longer in port, and it seems the damage was not minor, as the ship's engine had to be completely replaced. And of course, during all this time, the ship remained inoperative at the port. Time kept passing with repair after repair, and the ship did nothing but lose money for the company until the 2010s, when the cruise industry declined sharply, almost to the point of disappearing. This, combined with a ship that did nothing but lose money, resulted in the company simply abandoning the cruise, leaving it to its fate in the port, never to sail. Now it lies abandoned, with all the gambling equipment collecting dust and cobwebs, becoming a symbol of decay and neglect in the cruise industry. The future of the Blue Horizon looks bleak. The chances of restoration are slim, if not impossible, due to the high cost and the advanced state of deterioration. It is likely that the ship will be scrapped for parts in the future. Evergreen Crystal Palace. Sometimes even the best architects or designs can't really save a building from bad luck, as happened with this beautiful but forgotten structure. This is the Evergreen Crystal Palace, located on the outskirts of Shanghai, China. The building was conceived as an ambitious tourist and entertainment center, meant to be one of the focal points for tourists in Shanghai, with a vast complex that combined entertainment facilities, a conference center, and a luxury hotel, all within a futuristic structure made primarily of glass. Construction began in the early 2000s, and they managed to complete the main structure, which resembles a huge greenhouse. But, as you can imagine, things didn't end as well as they started. Despite its grand vision, the Evergreen Crystal Palace faced serious financial problems during its construction. Costs skyrocketed, and the company struggled to secure the necessary funding. Additionally, the global financial crisis of 2008 severely impacted the economy and investors' willingness to fund large real estate projects. With financial problems piling up, construction of the evergreen Crystal Palace came to a halt. By the time construction stopped, much of the glass structure was complete, but many of the interior facilities and essential services were unfinished. It was, and still is, a beautiful shell with an empty interior. Despite its abandoned state, or perhaps because of it, it has attracted urban explorers, photographers, and curious onlookers. So, in the end, it did attract tourists, although perhaps not in the way they wanted. Burj Al Babas. As we've seen, millionaires are willing to buy very strange and expensive mansions, and there are construction companies that take full advantage of this. Usually they do well, but sometimes it's possible to overestimate how much rich people will pay to have a strange house, as happened with the surreal village of Burj Al Babas. This was a real estate project located in the Mudurnu region of Bolu Province, Turkey. This ambitious plan was conceived as a luxurious complex of neo-Gothic-style homes, with the concept of building 732 luxury villas, each with a design inspired by European castles. These villas, with turrets, arched windows, and ornate facades, were intended to be sold primarily to foreign clients, including wealthy investors from the Middle East and Europe. Despite its ambitious start, Burj Al Babas faced serious financial problems. The Turkish economy went into crisis in the mid-2010s, severely affecting the real estate sector, and to top it off, the project's owners overestimated the appeal of the strange architecture to buyers. The houses were simply too odd and uncomfortable, and in the end, no one bought any. In 2018, the project came to an abrupt halt when the Sarot Group declared bankruptcy, leaving the development incomplete. Of the 732 planned villas, only about 587 were partially built. Many of these structures were left in various stages of construction, with unfinished interiors and no proper connections to basic services like water and electricity. This is a reminder that millionaires may be eccentric, but they are not foolish or insane. Lottery winner. Winning the lottery may sound like a dream come true for many, but it can be a terrible nightmare, as this $6 million mansion built by the anonymous winners of a U.S. lottery jackpot shows. In the frenzy of winning the lottery, the previous owners of this house created an entire palace without thinking of the consequences. You see, by spending so much money on building the house, they had nothing left to pay property taxes or maintain a house this large, so even after winning, they ended up bankrupt. In fact, winning the lottery was what ultimately led to their downfall. And of course, as you can see in the ruins of the mansion, they stripped all the valuable materials, including floors and walls, to pay off the enormous debts, leaving this sad skeleton of what could have been a mansion. So, if you ever win the lottery, remember, never buy a mansion. Better to pay off all your debts and buy a house you can actually afford in the future. Now tell me, would you save any of these mansions if you had the money to buy one? Leave your opinion in the comments. Here are two options that you'll surely love. These mansions are incredible, but not more than you, our viewer. So don't forget to like and subscribe. And here are two other videos that are simply fascinating.